Hi and welcome back. In this video we're talking about files. This is a new section and we are really getting into the exciting stuff now. After these few videos, particularly in this section and in the next section, our programs are going to be able to save their status so that we can continue later. By the way, just as an advance, in the next section we'll look at databases. Cool stuff. For example, we could write a program to store the books we want to read, and they won't be forgotten when the program ends and we start it again. That way we can really start developing larger applications now that, the information they hold starts to persist across runtimes. From this section onwards, we're going to be focusing more on building apps as opposed to just learning about concepts, which is really useful. You have to know what you're typing before you start typing it. But the best thing to do is to actually write code, of course, and develop some apps. So I'd like to apologize if you have been bored over the last few sections just learning, how to do things with Python. Now we're going to build apps and things are going to get more exciting, I promise you. And also, we're going to be writing all our code on PyCharm, as we've been doing. Instead of REPL-IT, we're going to start forgetting about REPL-IT as we focus more on these larger apps. In REPL-IT, you can't interact with files and databases and other good stuff, so that's why we must stop using it now. If you want to ask any questions about particular pieces of code, you can still post your code on REPL-IT and I'll definitely be able to look at it easily. I've created a new project here. I've called it files_project, and I've created an app.py file. Because in this video we're going to be dealing with files, particularly text files, I'm also going to right-click and create a new good old normal file, and I'm going to call it data.txt. The .txt stands for .text, and this data is going to hold some text data. Now let's talk about how we can read the contents of this data file using Python. Of course, right now it's empty, but we're going to type the name of our friend, Rolf. Just as an example, we're going to read the data in and print it out, just so you know how easy it is with Python to read some data out of a file. It's really straightforward. All we have to do is open the file, for which we have to give it the name of the file, that's data.txt. And you can see here you've got a nice thing in PyCharm where it tells you the arguments of this file. There's a lot. There's a mode, there's a buffering, encoding, errors, and so forth. We're only going to do $R. R is going to be the mode. Data.txt is going to be the name of the file. And the R stands for reading. We're going to open a file for reading only. Of course, this opens the file, and that does something at the operating system level. The operating system now has stored somewhere in its memory that you have this file open. And there's a certain limit to the number of files you can have open at once. Now, other than the operating system knowing that this file is now open, we must also have a way to interact with the file, for which we have to, of course, store this object that gets returned, it's called a file pointer, into a variable.